I'd like to make a motion that we come out of our break session and go back into open session.
Second.
Just call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Conlon?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
For the record, we have on a conference call our labor attorney, Mark Ruderman, and this is a matter deals with personnel. Brian Bouchon has a personnel issue, potential discipline issue that the Township Committee will address, and he's requested that it be done in open session. Mark, would you like to take it from here?
Sure. On June 23rd, it was reported to the DPW Superintendent, Mr. Jones, that a particular employee was asked by Brian Broussard if they'd like to have some fun, and he made a connotation referring to his nose, and she said, "No, I don't do drugs." So he then went into the men's room and he told her that he was snorting crystal and sniffing his nose. As a result of this, a report was given to Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones reported it to the township, and the township, based upon the report and the statement of the witness, we had reasonable suspicion to test Mr. Bouchon. And in fact, he was tested, and he was immediately put on administrative leave pending the results of the test. We have received the results of the test. The test indicates that he tested positive for meth, and there was, as noted in the report, there was no medical excuse to explain the results of the test, and a split sample was offered and was not taken by Mr. Bouchon, and as a result of this test, it's my recommendation as Labor Counsel that you prefer disciplinary charges against Mr. Bouchon for testing positive, and he is a CDL driver, and under DOT regulations, he is not allowed to use drugs of this nature while operating township vehicles. Obviously, he did, and therefore we will be recommending termination through the filing of disciplinary charges against Mr. Bouchon. And I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly.
So Mark, he is now on paid administrative leave. Is the recommendation to continue that until the hearing, if there is one? Or?
I would change the leave from administrative leave to suspension without pay, given the positive test results. That would be my recommendation.
Do you need a motion from the Township Committee or discussion prior to a motion?
Did you hear that?
I heard that Dan wanted a motion.
No, I asked whether would you want any further discussion from the committee, or are you just looking for a motion to proceed on your recommendation or not proceed?
I would want a motion to proceed with drafting the charges.
So, Mark, just so you know, Brian Bouchon has his union representative here as well. So
Okay.
I just thought that I would put that in for the record.
I think before the township decides to vote on this motion, that you should give Mr. Bouchon or his representative an opportunity to make a short statement.
Would one of you like to do that?
Well, have you given,
Wait, because we're going to need your name for the record, so you're going to have to go up to the podium and say who you are. Brian, you know the drill here. Well, we have not had this live in an open session. We've given Brian an opportunity to do this in closed session, so. But now that we're in open session, it's being taped. Yes?
How's it going? It's Brian Keenan, shop steward for AFSMI.
Okay?
This is the first we're hearing about these charges. The only thing we've been informed of so far is that he's been out for a drug test. So I don't understand how it goes from you guys never have to inform us or the union or anything like that. Like has the union been advised that you're going from? Have they been advised of any of these accusations or anything?
Are you hearing what Brian's saying?
Brian's saying, has the union been made aware of this? No, we just received the results of the test. We knew that you were having the opportunity to appear tonight, so it's my intention to notify Yolanda tomorrow morning.
Okay. Well, have you given all the paperwork to the union so far for this issue? Anything else that's been done with this issue so far?
Has the test, did you hear that, Mark?
No, I did not.
So the question is has the test results and the documentation to support what your recommendation is based on been sent to the union? I know you just said that we had just received it and you're contacting Yolanda tomorrow.
I'm intending to call her first thing in the morning and provide her with the test results.
Okay?
Okay. I guess that's it for this issue. This isn't referring to the grievance we have in right now.
Yes, I am aware that the union filed a grievance for not allowing you to have a union rep present during the drug test. We have denied the grievance. It is moved up to, I believe, Committeeman Barr's step in the process. It's the township's position that we did not refuse the right to have a union rep present during the drug test. We informed Mr. Keenan of that fact. He was transported immediately without a union rep, which I will concede, but he was given the right to, it was communicated to Brian that he could be there or another union rep during the test.
I'm Brian, and I spoke to Craig and Mike Jones, Craig Reeves, and they both told me I was not allowed to be present during the process, so that's not true. On the record.
I didn't hear what was just said. I'm sorry.
So just because the second Brian is Brian Keenan, who you
Right.
just mentioned. He is the union rep here this evening. And his statement is that he was not informed by Craig or by Mike Jones that he could be at the testing site to support Mr. Bouchon.
Did you request to be at the testing site?
Yes, personally. To both of them, I did, yes.
He's claiming that he, yes, did ask to be there, and he was told it was not necessary.
Okay.
That I was not allowed.
I understand what he's saying.
Okay? So, does that in any way change your recommendation? No, wait a second, before we get to that. Brian, is there anything else you want to add to this?
And
It's confusing, Brian Keenan or Brian Rousseau? Okay.
one other thing, have you passed the grievance on to the union like you're supposed to?
I believe, and Mark, I'm not trying to put words in anybody's mouths here, but everything, the grievance has been forwarded up to Mr. Barr, correct?
He
And,
has 10 days to respond.
No, to the union, have you forwarded to the union?
and the question is has that grievance been also forwarded to the union?
I thought the grievance was from the union.
It's from,
I I have a copy of it right in front of me. It was filed on union form, so I thought, I mean, it's got official grievance form right on it. It says AFSCME Local 3779. I had no reason to know whether or not Yolanda had anything to do with this or whether it was strictly filed by Brian, which makes no difference to the township because Brian is a union representative, but obviously I will share this information with Yolanda tomorrow. I have nothing to hide.
Well, it's supposed to be, as soon as you get a grievance, it's supposed to be, all that information
Brian,
is
you
supposed to
might
be.
try and speak up, because maybe Mark can hear what you're saying, because I don't want to paraphrase here.
Well, by the contract, all that's supposed to be forwarded to the union when you get it, not like, you're not supposed to wait on that.
If I may, Brian, you are the union?
AFSCME, to the council. I'm not the union, I'm just a shop steward.
That's not.
That's what it says in the contract, yeah.
Does it say union or union council?
Gave it back
To AFSCME.
Brian.
I'm not AFSCME.
It's up to Brian to get it to Yolanda, but I certainly don't have any problem communicating it with Yolanda tomorrow.
Well, contract says you're supposed to get the paperwork to the union. I'm surprised you haven't done that yet.
Unfortunately, I can't understand what
He's saying that.
Maybe you should
that
be
the
here.
current contract that's in place states that the union must be notified of any type of grievance or potential sanction or whatever.
Well, we're obviously going to notify Yolanda tomorrow of what was discussed here tonight. I thought the grievance came straight from Yolanda. When it says provided to the union in this case is the shop steward. So I think we're just talking about a technicality, but I'll be happy to give the information to Yolanda tomorrow morning.
Well, then my question to you, Mark, well, I don't know, again, if we're that, Brian, do you have anything else to ask?
That's good for now.
Okay, so the record should reflect that Brian Keenan has said that he's completed his questioning, and so I'm going to come back to you, Mark, and ask you, because the grievance didn't come from Yolanda, does that in any way change your recommendation?
No.
So, does anybody have, I mean, you have an opportunity to ask if you have any questions of anybody, you're welcome to do that. Right, so we have a recommendation from our union attorney, from our labor attorney, suggesting that we not only suspend without pay, but also
Proceed
Term-
with
terminate.
a formal notice, preliminary notice of major discipline encompassing termination. However, right to a hearing after that.
And you need a motion,
Yes.
correct?
Correct.
I'd like to make that
Yes.
motion.
Second.
there's a first and there's a second. Is there any further discussion? And Brian Bouchon, I'll give you one more chance before we vote. You do not want to address the township committee?
And advised by legal counsel to just,
Okay,
you guys have.
okay. So there's a first and a second. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Brian, so you understand what we just did, right? You're now suspended without pay pending further determination heading towards ultimate termination.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I wish you the best.
Thank you.
My
So
good.
this item would be, that if we're finished on this, the next item would be going to close session motion.
Okay, so we're done with Mark?
No, Mark, we have, let me talk to Mark. Mark, we have
Probably
a,
what you should do is if you want to talk about other things with me, other matters.
We'll call
in
back.
Executive session.
Can I call
Why don't
you?
I hang up and just call me back?
that's exactly what I was going to suggest, thank you.
Very good. All right, what do you think, it'll be 15 minutes, half hour, what do we talking?
My fingers are absolutely crossed, and I will make sure we get there.
We do have a couple, there's another attorney here in person that has to talk about another matter in closed session. So
Sure.
it might be half an hour, 45 minutes, depending on how quickly these folks can talk.
I will make sure that they keep it short and sweet.
Thank you very much.
All right. So with that, we will close the open session portion of the meeting, and I'll ask
I'll
Mr.
talk to you in a bit.
Thank you. I'll ask Mr. Coggins to read this motion and statement to go into executive session.
I hereby move that a resolution be incorporated into the minutes of this meeting authorizing the Township Committee to enter into executive session following the matters pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. The matters are litigation, Township of Upper versus Whippoorwill Campground LLC, contract negotiation, project development agreement redevelopment, contract negotiation, emergency medical billing, and personnel. I also include in my motion a time and circumstances under which the discussion conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public as follows. It is anticipated that the matters discussed in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Township Committee that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. With respect to employment and personnel matters, such discussions will be made public if and when formal action is taken or when the individuals involved consent that it can be made public. With respect to contract negotiations, such matters will be made public when negotiations have ceased and there is no longer a reason for confidentiality. With respect to litigation matters, such discussions will be made public when litigation is complete and the applicable appeal period has expired.
Second.
Would you call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you all for attending this evening. Please drive safely home. Enjoy the rest of the week. Stay cool.